Hi guys, it's Logan, the food striker, representing my love for Dragon Ball. Oh yeah. So for this video, I'm going to show you the cheapest way that you can get 30 grams of protein in one meal to make them gains. Why 30 grams though? The human body on average only uses about 20 to 40 grams of protein in one meal for efficient muscle synthesis. And that exact amount depends on person to person. So I figured 30 grams is a nice number because it's somewhere in between. So how much protein does a person need to eat in a day to maintain or gain muscle? Well, studies say that it's around 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilo. And again, the exact amount depends on the person. It should also be noted that I'm not a medical professional and that this video is for entertainment purposes only. So, before we start looking for the cheapest protein, I want to set some things straight first. There's so many factors to take into consideration that if I don't set parameters, this video is going to end up being as long as watching all of the Avengers films in one sitting. So firstly, the foods chosen must be generally accessible to everyone. So none of this rare, fancy stuff like amaranth. Look at me, I'm amaranth. I'm so special. I'm so rare. Secondly, the prices will be Australian because I'm from Australia. See? Australia. G'day, mate. But I think it's safe to say that how food is priced in Australia would be similar to that of the rest of the world. So let's find out what is the cheapest way to getting 30 grams of protein in one meal. Number 1. Chickpeas. This 1 kilogram bag of dried Tyson chickpeas costs us $2.50, and to get about 30 grams of protein you'd have to eat about 136 grams worth of this stuff, which is less than half a cup and costs us a very low 34 cents per serve. But remember, these are dried chickpeas. They have to be cooked before they can be eaten. Now if you're like me, you're probably thinking, I don't want to cook chickpeas, I might as well just get the ones that you get from the supermarket in the cans. The problem here, however, is that canned chickpeas have much less protein than their dried cooked counterparts. Look at this for example. This entire can of cooked chickpeas costs us 80 cents and only offers a total amount of 11.3 grams of protein. That means that if you want 30 grams in one meal, you're going to have to eat almost 3 whole cans of chickpeas. And honestly, I can't see myself doing that. Number 2. Tofu. The so-called classic or original tofu contains less protein than their firm or hard or super firm counterparts. For example, to get 30 grams of protein from this 900 gram pack of evergreen original tofu, you're going to have to eat about 560 grams worth of this stuff. At $4.40 per pack, that's about $2.64 for 30 grams of protein. As for firm tofu though, like this 450 gram macro firm tofu that costs us $3.50, you can get 30 grams of protein from just eating 176 grams of this stuff, which is roughly 40% of the packet and costs us $1.37 for 30 grams of protein. So firm tofu is much better than original tofu money-wise for protein. Number 3. Almonds. This
750 gram
bag of natural almonds costs
$10.
To get 30 grams of protein in one sitting, you'd have to eat roughly
129 grams.
Or about
107 almonds.
30 grams of protein here costs us about
$1.72.
That's a lot of seeds to chew on. And yes, they're seeds, not nuts, like I originally thought. Number 4. Protein powders. Now, where do I even begin with protein powders? There's like a bajillion protein powder brands these days. Well, let's just go with this one here. Gold Standard 100% chocolate malt whey 5 pound or 2.27 kilogram with 24 grams of protein per serve. What I found interesting is that a lot of protein powders don't actually provide 30 grams of protein per serve. They're more in the 24 to 25 gram range, which is going to make my 30 gram protein calculations a bit more difficult, but given that I'm Asian and wear glasses, so apparently 1 scoop of Gold Standard protein powder weighs 31 grams. I seriously don't know why the scoops couldn't just be 30 grams exactly, but whatever. Each scoop has about 24 grams of protein, and with my calculations, to get at least 30 grams of protein per serve, you need a 38 gram scoop. In other words, a heaping scoop where there's plenty of powder on top of the rim. To get this protein powder in Australia costs $94.95, which gives you about 59.5 serves of 30 grams protein, which equates to $1.59 per serve. Now, personally, I'm not a fan of protein powders. While they may do the job for some people, there's one thing I really hate about them. It should be noted that according to institutions like the Harvard Medical School and publications that have been updated as of April 2020, there are no Food and Drug Administration regulations on protein powders, which means that there is no certain way to know if a protein powder actually contains what the manufacturers claim it does. Some protein powders contain ingredients that might actually do you more harm than good. And the Harvard Medical School has actually found some protein powders contain heavy metals and bisphenol A, otherwise known as BPA, the stuff used to make plastic. Remember though, this is what the Harvard Medical School claims. So don't go sue me, protein powder companies, for sharing their opinion. Number 5. Steak. We're looking for the cheapest steak here, so sirloin, the mightiest protein steaks with a 7:1 protein to fat ratio, is going to be out of the question, unfortunately, because sirloin costs us $32 per kilo. Instead, for cheap steaks, you want a chuck steak, which costs us $17.99 a kilo, and to get 30 grams of protein from chuck steak, you're gonna have to eat about 120 grams worth in one sitting, which comes to about $2.15. It should be noted that if you're getting 30 grams of protein from chuck steak, you're also eating about 24 grams of fat as well. Number 6. Pork. Pork loin steaks cost $20 per kilo, and to get about 30 grams of protein, you'd have to eat about 111 grams worth of pork, coming to a cost of $2.22 for each 30 grams of protein. While it is 7 cents more expensive than chuck steak, a loin steak of this size has about 15 grams of fat, which is roughly 9 grams less than that of beef. Number 7. Tempeh. At my local Asian supermarket, I found this 300 gram brick of tempeh for $5.50. And to get about 30 grams of protein, you're going to have to eat about 200 grams worth of tempeh, which is 2/3 of the brick. That amount of protein costs you $3.67, which is expensive.
Number 8.
Cottage cheese. Now, this 500 gram tub of cottage cheese costs us $4. And to get 30 grams of protein, you're going to need to eat about 245 grams worth of this stuff, which is pretty much half the tub. However, you also get the added benefit of eating less fat, because even if you eat half the tub, you're only eating about 3.4 grams of fat. 30 grams of protein from cottage cheese costs $1.97. Number 9. Swiss cheese. Another cheese with a high protein count, this 200 gram block of Swiss cheese costs us $4 and offers 27 grams of protein per 100 grams of cheese, which is more than double that of cottage cheese. Now, to get 30 grams of protein here, you'd have to eat about 111 grams of Swiss cheese, which is just over half the block. The cost for 30 grams of protein here comes to $2.22, which is a bit more expensive than cottage cheese. It should be noted that when you eat this amount of Swiss cheese, you're also eating about 30 grams of fat, which is 9 times the amount of fat in cottage cheese. Number 10. Greek yogurt. Now, this 1 kilogram tub of Greek yogurt costs us $3.90 and offers 6 grams of protein per 100 grams of yogurt. So to get 30 grams of protein, you need to eat about 500 grams. In other words, half the tub. I love Greek yogurt, and even I would struggle to eat this amount in one sitting. The cost for 30 grams of protein here is $1.95. Number 11. Eggs. Now, the cheapest eggs I could find cost us $3.50 for a carton of 12 caged eggs. To get at least 30 grams of protein from eggs alone in one meal, you'd have to eat 5 eggs. Well, 4.72 eggs to be precise, but really now, who eats 72% of an egg and leaves the other 28% for later? You might as well just eat all 5 eggs. The cost of 30 grams of protein from eating eggs is about $1.46, which is fairly low, but isn't eating too many eggs bad for you? Well, according to a November 2019 article by Dr. Howard Lewine over at Harvard Men's Health Watch, the cholesterol you get from eating eggs had little influence on blood levels of cholesterol. The reason is because the cholesterol in your body apparently does not come from food, but rather your liver instead. And eating foods with high saturated fats causes the liver to produce lots of cholesterol. The fortunate thing here is that eggs are actually low in saturated fat, that the average healthy person suffers no harm from eating up to 7 eggs per week. Number 12. Liver. Beef liver. The cheapest beef liver that I could find online costs $4.95 per kilo. So to get 30 grams of protein, you'd have to eat about 111 grams of liver. Now, that's quite a bit of livers to eat to get about 30 grams of protein. However, the cost is only 55 cents per serve. But what about chicken livers? To get 30 grams of protein from chicken livers, you'll need to eat about 115 grams of chicken liver, which is 4 more grams than that of beef. The cheapest chicken liver I could find costs $6 a kilo, so the cost for 30 grams of protein here, it comes to 69 cents. 69. Number 13. Sunflower seeds. Now, I don't know whether this applies to the rest of the world, but it seems that in Australia, it's actually easier and possibly cheaper to buy de-shelled sunflower seeds than it is to buy shelled sunflower seeds. Well, you can probably buy shelled sunflower seeds at independent supermarkets for pretty cheap, but it's much more convenient just to buy the de-shelled ones from big supermarkets here. This 500 gram pack of de-shelled sunflower seeds costs us $3.50, and to get 30 grams of protein, you'd have to eat about 112 grams worth of seeds, which is just over a fifth the packet. The 30 grams of protein here costs us 78 cents. It should be noted that sunflower seeds are full of polyunsaturated fats, and while they are considered good fats, eating too much fat, regardless of the type, will lead to gaining weight. For every 100 grams of sunflower seeds, you're ingesting about 51 grams of fat. Then again, it's always better to eat healthy fats than it is unhealthy fats. 14. Peanut butter. For $2.45, I can buy this 500 gram tub of cheap generic smooth peanut butter. So to get 30 grams of protein in one sitting, you'd have to eat about 134 grams worth of peanut butter, which is just over a quarter of the tub. Now, I don't mind peanut butter, but I don't like it enough to be willing to eat a quarter of a jar in one sitting. 30 grams of protein from this peanut butter costs us 65 cents. Now, like sunflower seeds, peanut butter is full of them good fats.
Eating too much fat, regardless of the type, will lead to gaining weight.
Alright, number 15, beans. Alright, so I'm gonna knock off 3 types of high protein beans in one go. Kidney beans, black beans, and black eye beans. The cheapest beans for 30 grams of protein, hold on. Up there, up. Hello. So, the cheapest beans for 30 grams of protein are dried black eye beans, followed by dried
Kidney
beans at 69 cents. 69. And dried black beans at 85 cents. Number 16. Whitefish. So for whitefish, I'm going to choose frozen bassa, which costs us $9 for 1 kilo. Now, to get 30 grams of protein from white bassa, you need to eat about 240 grams worth, which is almost a quarter of this 1 kilo packet. A 30 gram serve of protein here costs us $2.16. Number
17.
Chicken breast. Good old breast. Gotta love them. At $9.50 per kilo, 100 grams of breast offers 30 grams of protein, once roasted. The average chicken breast weighs 172 grams. So it's up to you whether you want to eat a whole breast in one sitting. For 30 grams of protein from chicken breast, you're looking at 95 cents per serve, which is cheaper than that of steak and pork, but still more expensive than liver. I was also wondering if it would be cheaper to eat canned chicken, and it turns out that it's not. This can of shredded chicken costs us $1.29 and only gets you about 10 grams of protein, so you're better off just buying fresh chicken breast from the deli. Number 18. Milk. Which fresh milk has more protein, full milk or light milk? Light milk has 3.4 grams of protein per 100 mils, whereas full milk has 3.3 grams per 100 mils. So light milk has more protein, but just by 0.1 grams. So let's go with light milk. A 2-liter bottle of light milk costs us $2.39. To get 30 grams of protein from light milk, you'd need to drink a whopping 909 mils of milk. Now that is a lot of milk. and the cost for 30 grams of protein from light milk here would cost $1.09. While it is on the cheaper end for protein, I can't imagine myself sitting there and drinking almost 1 liter of milk in one sitting, especially because I'm lactose intolerant. Number 19, canned tuna. Now this generic brand of tuna costs $3 for 425 grams. However, that's the total weight of the can, including the water. The weight of the tuna after the can has been drained is 264 grams. Now to get 30 grams of protein from canned tuna, you'd have to eat about 117 grams of tuna, which is about less than half of the can's worth of tuna. I've said tuna a lot. Tuna. The cost of 30 grams from canned tuna comes to $1.32, which is 3 cents more than chicken breast. Number 20, canned sardines. Now this 125 gram tin of sardines costs only 75 cents and gives you 21.4 grams of protein. So if you want 30 grams of protein, you'd obviously have to buy 2 cans, which brings the price up to $1.50. However, the exact cost for 30 grams of protein in this situation comes to about $1.05, which is cheaper than that of canned tuna. Number 21, mackerel. Holy mackerel! This 425 gram of canned mackerel costs $2.50, and the total amount of protein here is 54 grams. So unfortunately, it's 6 grams short of delivering 2 servings of 30 grams protein. So to get 30 grams of protein from this canned mackerel, you'd have to eat just over half the can's worth of mackerel. The cost for 30 grams of protein from mackerel comes to $1.38. And last but not least, lentils. Now, this 1 kilogram pack of red lentils costs $3.50. Now, to get 30 grams of protein here, you'd have to eat about 122 grams worth, which comes to a very cheap price of 43 cents. Bitching. Now, what about green lentils? Well, green lentils has a higher protein content than that of red lentils. This 1 kilogram bag of dried whole green lentils costs us $4.60, and to get 30 grams of protein here, you'd have to eat about 109 grams worth of green lentils. And the cost for 30 grams of protein here is exactly 50 cents. Very nice. My throat hurts so much. Oh, such an oral workout. I've not done this much reading out loud, let alone speaking in a while.
In conclusion, the cheapest source of protein is indeed chickpeas, coming in at a mighty low 34 cents. Here's the list of foods from today, sorted from cheapest to most expensive for 30 grams of protein. Pause the video if you want, or download the spreadsheet I've created in this video's description. The spreadsheet also has links to where to buy the foods, even though I'm not sponsored by any of the brands, and it also includes the links to where I got my research from. If you enjoyed this video, please support my channel by liking this video, leaving a comment, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel.